Episode 250. Good morning, good evening, whatever your day is starting like. Ours is getting towards the end. It's a Monday evening after the Idlewild Open. I'm here with Nick, Ben, and Josh. This episode and all the episodes presented this season are presented by TitanDiscGolf.com. 35,000 disc selection, free shipping over $75, exclusive stamps. Man, we've been talking about them all the time. And it's not like, I don't feel like I'm getting paid to talk about them. Like, I actually genuinely support them, and I hope you do as well. Check them out over there, TitanDiscGolf.com.
He might have been needed on the bag this past weekend. Yeah. I'm not sure.
In fact, I said I doesn't feel like I'm getting paid. There have been times where we've been paid to talk about somebody, and we've shut that down, where if we don't feel comfortable talking about somebody, we're not going to even take money and do it. Like, it's just, we're only going to talk about who we want to support. So shout out to them, TitanDiscGolf.com. I don't know what else to say. Josh, you're holding down the hat this night. I usually wear it, but I couldn't find it, so I threw something else on.
Yep, as a constant reminder, definitely check them out.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, per usual. That's why we're a 2-hour episode per week. But man, something feels different about this week. And I can't quite place my finger on it. Yeah, so here we are. I've got my takes, and I'm sure some of you have your takes, and the listeners are wondering what the takes are. Let me just say, we have Jennifer Smiley lined up for an interview. She popped off this week, according to our pop drop lock, but no, she really did.
25 points.
And Paul MCBETH. Possible. I'm just dangling the hook out there for everybody. Like, maybe.
Dangling the hook for Paul. We're like, come on, Paul, bite. Join us.
No, it's not a bite. We've chatted back and forth throughout the day. And it's literally, the answer was, you ready? This is what his answer was. Of course I'll hop on. Now, there was a paragraph before that, but of course I'll hop on. So it's not a no. It's a matter of travel times. And so there's always that situation with our live recording on Monday following an event. So we'll see what happens. But you're going to have to stay tuned for probably towards the end of the show if it's going to happen. So I'm just putting it out there. It might. All right, Josh, where are we going?
LWS Open at Idlewild, I think. Ben, what was it like out there?
It was awesome. Loved Idlewild as a course. And yeah, it seems like every year people are like, why is it on tour? Or some people, but it always brings the most exciting finishes, I think.
Do you know why they ask that now, Ben, though? Why is it on tour? What was your perspective of the course when you were there? Not quality. I'm not asking quality, but I'll open the floor all the way.
Fluky is one of them, but not even that. That doesn't matter. It's mostly just, it's like easy for the pros. You know, it's not as challenging. I mean,
I think that's why.
Gannon shot 12, 13, and then 9, and then Paul still beat him. So he had to do better than that. So that's a high score for a 3-day tournament.
Yeah, you didn't get a chance to play, I'm sure, because that's how it goes. But could you see how that would be? That would be a fun one to play.
I think I'm going to try and play it tomorrow. Okay. I'm going to try and play it tomorrow morning. That's my goal.
Because you can see how that course, I was telling you last week, like that's a fun one to play for an amateur like us.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I can see how amateurs can mess up and how pros can dominate too. So
absolutely. Yeah. But you're going to get birdies on some of those holes and be like, look, I can do it because they're achievable.
I know. Yes, exactly. Especially like 11. It's like the easiest hole ever.
11. But like 16, are you going to eagle 3 rounds in a row?
I could definitely get there. It's just if it's not outside 10 feet, or if it's outside 10 feet, it's a toss up. I don't know whether I'm gonna hit the putt or not.
The best player in the world, 3 rounds.
We're obviously going to talk about the competition because that's what we're mostly interested in. But since you're on this topic, this is literally just an opinion question. Do you like it? Like here from our perspective.
Yeah.
I watched the event, so I'll say first, I love it. And just like we've said for many things, you wouldn't want that every weekend. I wouldn't want that every weekend. But
No.
now that I'm used to that course and I've seen it and I know what it delivers, and sure, some of it's fluky, some of it's hard, but it actually created a lot of excitement in the final round for MPO. A little bit of that quote unquote flukiness, some of the challenges, some of the easy holes. So I love it.
Wait, didn't it feel like reminiscent to not as crazy, but European Open when it was Paul versus Eagle, where it was basically a 2-horse race, and they were up by a considerable amount, and it was like who's gonna win? It was back forth. Like Gannon was up at one point with let's say like 5 holes to play or something like that. Like he was up 1 after being down 4 at one point, so it was crazy.
Yeah. I definitely want to talk through. We won't literally go hole by hole, but I do want to talk through the round because some people, I don't know, maybe. Well, actually, hold on. I want to get Matt or Nick. Do you like the course?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that was one of the most exciting coverages I've watched in a long time. Like obviously Paul being in contention and Paul ultimately winning the tournament made it that much more exciting for me. But the disc golf in general, the course itself was really fun. I actually got to play it back in 2017. So a number of changes have happened since then. So 8 years ago. But yeah, everything about it was super fun to watch.
I even like, I don't know if this is the right word, but I like the quirky, like greens and some of the, like the built up and the fake grass. Like, again, I wouldn't want that everywhere, but it's kind of cool and fun and unique. It's on the edge of looking too quirky, but to me, it's just right. For what it is. Like, again, like
they've changed the course just enough over the years too to make it better, to be what it is. Everything from hole 2 changing a little to hole 3 changing and hole 4. They've changed everything just enough that the course has gotten better and it's still exciting to watch.
You know what's crazy is Gannon's Eagle on 18, hole 8 was a par 5 a few years ago. So it would have been an albatross.
You said hole 18 or 8?
8.
Okay.
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, that was too easy though. If you remember when it was a par 5, everybody was
just like laying up. Yeah.
They're like, I just lay up for the eagle. So I think it's correct for what it is. And should we talk about that shot? I mean, that's the last round now. You said he was down 4 and then he had to have a miracle shot to get within 2. You played it like he marched back 4 strokes, but the reality is he was gifted 2 strokes by throwing it in. Now, gifted by the greatest player in the world, we used to say with Paul, do you remember this? We used to be like, he's the luckiest player in the world. I don't know if I said that, but people used to say that. And the reality is, the better you are, the more lucky you are. Just because you're putting it in that target zone so much more often that eventually it goes in. So I'm not taking away the skill that it took to be there, but if he does that 10 times in a row or 50, he might hit the basket once, but he might not even go in. So that was awesome.
Matt, was this the course you filmed before?
Yes, and the shot that keeps getting brought up over and over and over is a shot that I filmed at the basket. It was the eagle by eagle on hole 3 or 2. Hole 2. Clearing the water. I filmed that shot, and everyone's always like, "Man, it was just eagle it in here," and I'm like, "Yeah, I watched it first person. It's crazy."
But this course is like more than just this, but it's just so fresh. So I remember that shot, and then obviously what Gannon did, which Ben, I want to get your thoughts on what that experience was like, and then even Kyle Klein doing another crazy throw in. Like, there's just it's all pretty crazy. Here's the thing, maybe like you can react to that, but I want to put a small pin in this. Just Nick, Matt, Ben, tell me, hear me out. We want to talk through the whole MPO round. Ben, you were there.
Yep.
It's an interesting. Some people, right or wrong, we can debate it, are calling it the best or most exciting round of the year. I don't know. It's.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, right. So we could even debate that, but regardless, like, it was awesome. So I want to talk through. There's actually a lot of little things, like the throw in, like what was happening, the battle back and forth. What does this mean to Paul, etc. But can we pause that? Can we go to FPO for a bit? And then we also have an interview coming up in about 10 minutes or so with one of the FPO players. And then we'll have time to kind of decompress the whole MPO round. Does that sound like a plan?
Absolutely.
All right. So in FPO, so Nick, right before we kicked off, you were looking at pop, drop, lock, which is something we'll talk about later and see how we did. But 52% of our online players, so for our kind of version of a pick'em game called Pop, Drop, Lock, 52% of people picked Own to win.
Sheesh.
Which says a couple things, right? I mean, one, like,
Not Ben
people
Kenny.
people are looking in the field to decide who they think may be worth picking.
I don't even know who I picked, honestly.
Missy.
Anybody have a
Okay.
guess who was the next?
Valerie
next pick?
Mandujano.
No, that was third. So it was Missy
Missy.
Gannon, then Val, and then
Yeah.
Cadence, who I think is somewhat local, and then Cat Merch, and then how about Holly
Cadence
Ham?
played- Cadence played really well last year there too, so it was like a good reason.
Yes, and I'm not surprised that Holland was only like 2% of our picks, but that's still crazy. I'm not surprised because of how she's been trending. But
What
like,
you're
that's
seeing,
crazy.
this is interesting. What you see is reactions, right? And I think, Nick, you said this. You're like, nobody picked Own at Worlds. Literally on our game, nobody picked her. And then 2 weeks later, everybody. So it's like people
Yeah,
try
that's
to
the way-
see where fire's happening and pick
and
it.
they weren't wrong.
They weren't wrong here. I was one who picked Own as well. But
Yeah, so let's talk
partly
about that.
because
So
I
they
picked too many other players. Like I'm starting to narrow it down. But I was between Val and Own, and I decided to go with Own, and it was a good
Right.
pick.
And we're missing a lot of the European players who also may be likely
Mm-hmm.
picks for us. So the field's a little bit U.S. centric, and that changes some of the not the algorithm, but the guessing game. But congrats to Owen Scoggins. So again, we're going to contrast it with Impio in a bit, but like that last round, she had it locked down. What did she come in with? What was a stroke lead? 4, 5, 6? I'm going to pull it up. I should have.
She
already
kept
checked.
the 6 or 7 or 8 the whole round, the whole last round.
Yeah, she was ahead by 6 going into the final round and won by 7.
7.
Yeah.
So, so congrats. Purely from a spectator standpoint, it's like ho hum. That's just because you don't have the emotional roller coaster, right? From being impressed, like it does everything. You're like, Own is so good. What was it? Was it after round 2 or something? She was still disappointed in her like putting, right? So I think Grant was interviewing her about this, and she still went out and grinding out practice putt. I mean, she is just like,
She's a grinder.
yeah, she's grinding and she's showing, this is not new really, but she's showing a different approach than what some people may think, which is just very consistent. Doesn't have the big cannon arm, but she can still throw far, but not the big cannon arm, and is just really hyper focused on putting and consistency.
Well, does anybody
it's
want to
like-
fill us in on where she's been this whole year?
Laos.
Well, no, she hasn't. I mean, what do you mean?
I'm talking like we hadn't even talked about.
That's where
Own.
she's from, and she was
Yeah,
there.
where's she
Right?
been?
Yes.
We haven't even talked about, and I said this after Worlds.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
So I'm trying to say, you're talking about her work ethic and all that. I don't think it's that she was like trying this whole time and failing. I think she was working through injury. Like she had her elbow thing. She had arm. I know that she's had multiple issues, and I'm just curious because I haven't talked to her. We haven't even interviewed her.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that
it's-
those are more or less gone. And now the confidence and, as Ricky always says, the momentum is carrying her. And I have in our scroll, look at right there at the bottom of our the scrolling text, Owen Scoggins making her push for Player of the Year.
Yeah.
If
she'll have to win a
she
few more,
wins
right?
out, if she wins out, there's no reason I feel like that you wouldn't pick her.
Mhm.
If she wins out.
Agree.
Because of a Worlds, and I think that would tie her, or even more. It would put her ahead of Holland. So I think she could potentially lose one as long as Holland doesn't, and she's Player of the Year. So anyways, she is making that push.
Yeah, and maybe to that point, I don't know if it changes. She would need a couple more wins, but she may also be flying a little bit below the radar also. And so getting 2 wins out of the last 3 events and a second in between really showcases it. But Matt, she's averaging 6.2 on the year. So it's like she hasn't like disappeared, but in the past she has, shown up. I mean, she even has another second place, 2 third place finishes.
She has 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. That's her podiums or better.
Right. So anyway, I'm just saying like she's actually probably having a pretty decent year.
Hold on.
Of course,
But one of those seconds was last week at Ledgestone too, which is crazy. Right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the last 3 weeks, like
that was her
which is why
playoff.
half
It could
the
have went
people-
that way. And it would have been own.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know.
So,
I'm going crazy.
and it's funny, like I think part of this is being humble. And I think part of it's probably how she really assesses the situation. She's like, I'm happy to get like top 10 on any given week.
Right.
And I think that's probably how she really actually feels, because the field is competitive, but she's just consistent enough to float around. And if everything goes right, if she makes 3 or 4 more circle 2 putts, and right, the next thing you know, she's throwing down. So she did not make the event exciting. She made it impressive. It was great for her. Down the leaderboard just a bit, we have Missy Gannon, who's been a little bit quieter lately. And it's just weird to say second place is awesome, but you're also 7 strokes behind. That's not a knock on Missy, but it just makes it feel different. And then Valerie, again, with a great performance in third. And then her sister, Alexis, in fourth, who I think has played well here in the past. So not surprised. And then we have Jennifer Smiley, who I believe we are planning to talk to in a little bit.
Yeah,
Yep.
actually, she's in the green room. Before we get right to it, I just want to do a quick... Jen, can you hear us okay? Maybe? Her camera just froze up. I see the internet connection just went wild as soon as I asked that question, which is unfortunate. So, but yeah, she's in the green room. We're planning to bring her in here very soon. We'll see if I get this fixed.
So we'll talk about that. I'm not going to read down the whole leaderboard, but Katrina Allen was in the mix, finishing tied for 5th. But obviously a very familiar name. She made a post, talking about balancing life, motherhood, tour life, and maybe not getting as much practice time. And what's interesting is, I don't think this is on purpose, but I read into her post something similar that we heard from Paige Pierce. I think their approach is different, but it seemed to be like they have so much experience that they actually know everything that can go wrong and all the potential shots and variations that could play out. And they end up overthinking it and play a little bit with some fear, right? And that's interesting compared to a new player who doesn't have that anxiety or experience to hold them back. And Katrina was basically like, look, I just need to simplify my game and just play like I know how, right? Don't be afraid. Just throw my 4 or 5 good shots I know. And she, that was probably her best. I didn't look at the stats, but it's got to be her best performance of this year.
All right. Well, let me try one more time. Jen, can you hear us? I don't know if she can hear us. I feel like I can hear her. I don't think she can hear us. Okay, she's trying to talk and it's not coming through. What you need to do, can you hear us, thumbs up? How about that? If you give us a thumbs up okay. So I'm going to guess you should, if you're on a phone, just close out the browser and redo the link. And when you come in, check for any permission. Check for permissions, like if it's asking to use your mic and stuff, and then just double check that. We'll give it another try.
Or try and go in Chrome too, if you're not
Or
on
if you
Chrome.
have a different option, but go ahead and try again. Yep, cool. We'll see you back. So yeah, I mean,
we'll get her in.
Yeah, I see her, obviously, I believe, right? MVP. So I see her because we're friends with Paul Kranz and he's hanging out. And so I get to see a little bit of the social media side.
Always hanging
more
out.
than I expected.
Yeah. So it'll be cool to hopefully, knock on wood, get to talk with her. Not really a new face. She's been touring for 2 years, but I want to hear from her. I don't think we know her all that well. So congrats to her on tying for 5th. Yeah, here's the truth. Nothing else stands out to me significantly from the FPO side, except for Holland Handley. Again, a below, no pun intended, a below par performance. Actually an over par performance. Or at least even. But anyway, nothing stands out because Owen just kind of ran away with it. And so I think at the end of the year, that'll be part of the narrative. But from this event, it didn't add a whole lot of excitement. So I don't have much else to add on FPO.
When she throws her shot on, and I'm forgetting the whole number, and she gets it to the basket miraculously. Hell no! Hell no! Hell no! And she's screaming. Everybody's just like, yeah! It's like, she's hilarious. What an awesome personality to have in disc golf. You start thinking of like the disc golf players we have, and you think about not everybody has a personality, and I don't mean that like super negative. I just mean some really stand out, and we've got some treasures. So anyways, it's fun to watch. I was a little impressed. I know you talked through some of this, but it's a weird momentum thing, but it's also a course and time of the year thing where you see the Mandahanos start to show up. It seems to be often in the woods, and at least this year it's later. It didn't show up a lot at Waco like maybe you thought it would, or other courses like Music City or things like that. But I think I hear crickets, so I'm guessing. Can I hear Jen now? Jen, can you hear us? Okay, yeah, I can hear her. So we will
Not the cricket.
we'll bring her in a minute, but it's funny because I could hear a cricket and I'm like, I don't think that's from us. Perfect.
That's from silence.
It's from silent. Okay, beautiful. All right. Well, if you're
I
ready,
know you're
we'll
about to
bring
bring.
you in, Jen.
Yeah, well, you can transition in, but let's just
Okay.
finish really quick really quick with Owen Scoggins. We already know it's putting, but just to be clear, 62% C2 putting again, and it's not like she had 3 C2 putts. She sunk 8 of them. So I mean, if Owen just keeps doing this, that's like hard to beat, right? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
anyway, yeah, let's bring in our interview.
Back when we had an intern, the intern could have talked to her off camera, you know, like figure it out. But I'm like actually talking on mic. Hey, can you hear? Like we're doing the whole behind the scenes thing. We'll intern.
I know.
All right, cool.
Need another intern.
Let's go ahead and bring into the show for the first time on Staggered Stance, Jennifer Smiley. Jen, can I call you Jen? Is that okay?
Yeah, I go back Jen.
Okay, great. And before you say another word, I gotta take one more thing off so you don't sound funny on our end. It
Before
comes
you
out.
say another word.
Ben, you know what it sounds like. It does. Everyone
Yeah,
that's
I
a
know.
classic of the show knows it's going to robot voice, but I just fixed it. So welcome to the show, Jen. You had what we're calling, according to a game we play, a pop-off event. Do you feel like it was a pop-off event for you?
I'm not sure. I played really well at Turku, and I've started to like progressively get better each event. So
Okay.
I think it was like a big turning point. But hopefully it's not just a pop off.
Okay. Well, to pop off, I want to be clear. You have to be a great player. And I was thinking about that today, Josh. For this game, I'm like, the players that you're picking are players that can perform at the highest level. That's who you're picking. And it's a game of who does it win. And the only people who are doing it every single week, Ganon Burr, I think. I mean, lately maybe Owen if we're having recency bias. But anyways, Turku is great for you. You feel like you're trending up. This is your second year on tour, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And does this season feel significantly better than previous seasons, or like how would you describe that?
Yeah, last season I was dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome and just like not trusting myself out there. And this year, everything's felt really good. I've cashed at almost every event since the Northwest Disc Golf Championship. And so it just feels like everything's clicking into place, and I feel way more confident in my throwing. I've always felt like putting is the best part of my game. So just to regain confidence with throwing the disc has been amazing.
Awesome. I see your social media sometimes a little more because our buddy Paul Kranz, I think you know, he's hanging out at Team MVP and you're part of that. And so you've gotten to hang out a little bit with Paul. How's he doing out there? I haven't talked to him recently.
Yeah, Paul's doing pretty well. You know, he's a good friend, so we
Good.
hang out sometimes, and it's nice to see him do well this season too.
Awesome. So yeah, because that means you both probably started the same season, your first year touring, correct? Yeah, that would make you guys.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So tell us a little bit about who you are with how you came into disc golf, because as much as you've been playing disc golf for 2 years and you have a lot of fans, it's one of those things where some fans only watch live coverage, right? And if you're not on live coverage, they're like, I don't know who that is. So there's a portion of our people, our listeners here, who probably aren't as familiar with you. So just let's give everybody a fresh starting ground. When did you come into disc golf? How and what led you to join the tour?
Yeah, so I first threw a disc in October of 2019. My dad really wanted to go out and play, and no one else in my family would go with him. And so I went and I hated it, and pretty much didn't really play until 2021. Um, and then I was in college and I was doing like I had to pick a research project on something, and we'd been watching disc golf. And so I chose the FPO division, and I was a data science major. And so I just analyzed the data, and that really got me interested in disc golf. And so I started practicing a lot and competed in my first tournament that year in FA4. um, yeah, and then I guess 2023, Raven Newsom was in our area. His wife lives like an hour and a half from me. So he was playing a local B tier, and I met him during a practice round, and we decided to play around together. And he told me that I need to go on tour. So he kind of helped me get in with MVP, and then I started touring uh, the next year.
So I feel like you have to be at the right place of life where someone says, hey, you should join the tour. And you're like, cool, I'll do it. Obviously, the skill is part of it. But the other part of it is like people's life, their ambitions. Did you have other plans before someone suggested maybe I should hit the tour?
Yeah, so I actually have my master's degree in data science. So I was kind of expecting to go into that. But I had really fallen in love with disc golf. Sorry, the lighting. It's like,
That's
where's
okay.
that?
You're
There we
fine.
go.
And we can hear you. It might feel a little jumpy on your end, but we'll hear you. And if not, we'll tell you.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So I was, expecting to go into that, and uh I don't know. I kind of like had like this dream of being on tour. Like I'd started watching a bunch of coverage, and I was like, man, it'd be so cool to do that. And then when Raven like asked me to, or like told me I should go on tour, I just kind of was like, okay, well, I had better do it now while I still can. And so I have data science I can fall back on, but it's better to do this while you're young, you know?
Wow. Josh on the show here. I'll actually go back to all of us up here. Josh enjoys numbers and crunching. I enjoy doing numbers and crunching. Yeah, when you block the sun, it looks perfect. So you just
There we go.
like, yeah,
I was
perfect.
like trying to figure out.
For those who are listening on audio, the sun is setting behind Jennifer. It's a wonderful scene, and she's coming through clear. But we love crunching numbers on things too. You said you were interested in the disc golf side of it. What type of data were you looking at? Was it disc golf statistics as far as competition, or was it more on the I don't know, the economical side of it, or, marketing? Like where were you looking at?
Yeah, I was looking at the FPO division and seeing what's like statistics, like categories, like was it putting or fairway hits or scrambling? What was the main statistic that all like the top 5 players had in common? Um, and like just kind of to see like what you needed to be like competitive on the FPO side. Um,
What
yeah.
was it? What was it, Jen? Do you remember what it was for the top 5 or whatever? Like, what were some things that stood out? You might not remember exactly. Anything still stand out to you?
Scrambling.
Okay.
Scrambling really stood out. And I think it was like fairway hits. I think those were the 2 main statistics in FPO that you needed in order to like place in the top 5 or 10.
So data, do you like stats then? Like, does that interest you almost in anything? You kind of like that. So even in the sport of disc golf, you're still interested.
Yeah. I keep my stats like on the tour because that's something like I'm just like nerd out on, and I want to make sure they're correct.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's I really enjoy that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to look on our side because we track stats on you as well. Simply your placements and finishes over the season. Let's just test you real quick. This is going to be a tough one. You might not track it. What is your average finish over all of the events so far? If you had to pick a number, where's your average placement to this point?
Year?
Yep, to this point in the season. This year.
Oh gosh.
You got to
I
kind
had
of think.
some not great starts. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
would
think of your
say-
year and kind of pick where's the average.
I'll say 30th.
Josh, what
maybe,
do you have?
Maybe
Wow,
maybe 28.
Oh, even better. 27.2.
Oh, Josh, you have her a little different. I guess it's because I didn't throw Turku in there because we did a rating base. So yeah, okay. She was pretty close on. I had a 29, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So a couple things. First of all, like I work with data scientists every day in my full-time job. So like I'm all about data, numbers, obviously so much hype in the AI world. So it's a pretty good fallback plan. And if you're successful at disc golf, then that's awesome too. So I do want to ask though. You mentioned Turku. So Turku was your best finish in your career, and then you just had your best finish again in fifth. So that's 2 out of the last 3 events. Like, what do you attribute that to? You talked about this a little bit, right, when we asked you the first question, but like, has anything changed for you, or is this just, it's the same thing, it's just now paying off?
Yeah, I mean, so gosh, in Europe, like after PCS, for Crokle, I was having like what I would consider putting yips. It wasn't like I was missing like 10 footers or 15 footers or anything, but I wasn't making like my 25 to 30 foot putts. And for like when you're a good putter, you're like you just expect to make everything. And so I started going out and practicing a ton with my putting and my form. Like while I felt confident with it, it was like just slightly off. Like I wasn't happy with it, and like as disc golfers, I guess we're never truly happy with our form. Uh, but I
You
just
hang out with
couldn't
Paul
wait.
Crans too much.
I do, yeah. And I just couldn't like not work on my form. Like the off season's too far away. And so I was like, okay, we're just gonna do like a bunch of drills and just get to where I feel more confident throwing and like hitting my lines. Because I grew up in Virginia and we have a lot of woods golf there, and on tour there's less woods golf. And so just like getting back to like what I know and feeling confident with my accuracy has helped so much out on the tour because I'm able to look at the gap and be like, okay, like if I like just focus on my elbow, then I'm gonna hit the gap and it's gonna be fine, and that just takes a bunch of pressure off because when you're confident, you just play better.
Yeah. So do you approach the game pretty much from an analytical standpoint? Do you feel like that's like how you view the game and analyze it?
I think so. I mean, it
Oh, she just cut out, but now she's
Oh,
back. Can you hear us?
I
Okay, it
can,
was
yeah.
literally just a blip, so you're back.
it
You
was
can answer
just
that
for 1
question.
second. So you
Okay.
can pick up right where you were. We didn't lose much.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if I'm just going out and playing like a fun round with friends, then I don't really think about anything. Like I'm just out there enjoying myself. But on the tour, definitely yes. I'm always thinking about like what are the best landing zones. Like I in the FPO division, you don't need to birdie every hole. You just need to not take big numbers, essentially. And so if you can figure out what you need to do and stay in your lane to get the par, then birdies are going to come and you're not going to take huge numbers by playing smart golf. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely look at it as an analytical mind.
Yeah. So do you think, is there anything else that you're trying to focus on or shift or change to continue to finish like you finished, in those two recent events? Like, do you feel like you're focused on anything in particular, or again, just trying to execute?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to like still go out and practice every day. I think especially with my putting, just regaining that confidence with my distance putts has helped so much. And then I don't have like too much I'm trying to change or fix for the rest of the season. Like other than Deglow, we have MVP and GMC, and both of those are wooded courses. And so if I could just stay like more confident with my accuracy, then I'm not super worried about like adding more distance right now. The off season, on the other hand, I have lots of plans to change a lot of parts of my game.
Hmm.
What would you say is like a strength of your game right now? Like, for people who maybe haven't seen you or don't know, like forehand, backhand, upshots, putting, like how would you describe your strengths?
I'm definitely like putting is the best part of my game. Um, and then I would say I'm really good at backhand touch shots. I'm not a forehand player at all. I have a scramble forehand, but that's something I'm working on this off season for sure.
Yeah, well, I heard you say earlier that scrambling was one of those stats that was a big deal. So yeah, there you go. You got to scramble forehand. I want to ask some other stuff that's not specific to your on-course play, such as like your tour and everything. But Matt, Ben, Nick, anything?
Yeah, I'm jumping in. The chat had one in here, and I'm going to throw the chat a bone here on this one. They're curious, or they said finally someone that understands the rating system. So you're in the numbers and looking at it and trends and all the stats related to it. We've had on the originator, creator, inventor of the rating system, and we have a couple-hour episode with him, and my head was spinning after. I generally get it. Do you think that it's a system that is okay for as long as you define what it's okay for? Or do you think that like there's a better product and this one just stinks?
I do understand it. I actually wrote an R, or actually it's a Python coding like script to calculate my rating in advance.
Speaking my language.
Cool.
Speaking my language.
But I think it could be better. I don't think it's the best like measure for players on tour. Ratings on tour just are different than they are at your average like A tier, B tier, C tier. I think it's a great like mechanic for amateurs and just like figuring out like what division you should play, like where you kind of rank in, I don't know, like in comparison to like your friends or, you know, someone from another state or something like that. So it's not bad. I definitely think it could be revamped. But yeah, I don't know.
We'll wait for you to write the code on that one. You can sell it to the PDGA. Yeah, no, I generally agree with that take as well. I think what's interesting, like for Gannon, whether it's a good system or not, it is in place and there's something to be marketed about like, hey, I'm about to achieve the highest rated player ever. Now, how much weight that actually has, but like it's still a t-shirt you could get that says I've done it. So again, I don't think the value's there as much for the pros unless you're going to be the highest rated of all time. That's my take. And I think amateurs are great too. No, that's cool. Josh, it's exciting, right? We got to keep going down this data road.
Yeah, we don't have to, but when you're saying Python script and all, I'm just like, I'm loving it because
getting excited over there.
Nick and Ben are not.
Yeah. I'm gonna stay out of this one.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily a development expert.
The only Python I know is my ball python, Marcel.
What?
Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
He's cute. He's banana python.
On.
You know, I'm gonna show y'all a picture. But go on, I'll find it. Don't worry.
Oh my goodness. Well, all right. So Jennifer, again, thank you for joining us. Just curious because going from 2022 playing U.S. Women's in FA2, 2023 U.S. Women's in FA1, and yes, you had a bunch of other events in those years as well. But then straight to full-time tour. You told us a little bit about how that happened. But like, how are you touring? Like, are you flying in? Like are you in a van or a car, Airbnbs? All right, thank you, Ben, for showing us a picture of you and a python.
Marcel.
My ball python, Marcel. You can't even see it well. It's okay.
Oh boy. So Jennifer, like, what did that look like? Because that's a pretty big jump to go on tour full time. So how'd you make that jump?
So I was like, I had bought a like 2011 CRV like previously. And so I basically traded with my mom and I have her 2010 Toyota Sienna. And that's what I travel in and tour out of right now.
Sienna's a nice van though. I mean, it's a 2010, but still it's a nice van. That should run a long time. How many miles does it have?
Over 250,000.
Okay.
Nice.
You got 100,000 more at least.
Yeah, you know. I think next year I might try and do the Airbnb life. I've done it like for a couple events this year and it's way nicer, and I did it in Europe, and then just coming back and knowing I'm gonna have to sleep in my van in like the summer in the Midwest, I was like, this is not it.
So I'm going to bring up Kristen for just a second. Kristen Lott. It seems to us, and this is our take, not yours, that this lifestyle is a drain. I know Simon's mentioned it. Kristen mentions it. That's tiring. Some people are what we would call homebodies, you know, out on the road can just zap you for all you're worth. Where do you find yourself in that? This is your second season. I think even like, I don't want to go out on a limb too far here, but like Stacey Ronsley, who was on the tour for years up until last year. A lot of this, sometimes people feel like, man, for my soul, I just have to be back home. Is this the long game for you? Do you feel like, man, I'm built for this? Or do you feel like, man, I could see myself burning out after a while?
Yeah, I mean, last year I definitely experienced some more burnout than I have this year. I pretty much played every single weekend, every off weekend. I had an event. This time, I've taken a couple more off weeks, and Europe just kind of felt like a vacation, even though we were competing and it was work. But I mean, I told myself, like, try this for 3 years, and if at the end of the 3 years it's not working, then I can fall back on data science. But if things keep trending upward, then hopefully I'll stay on tour for longer than that. I don't really have like a problem being away from home this long. The thing I miss the most is I have a little dog named Pippin, and I miss him the most. But you know, I don't know. I enjoy just traveling and seeing the world, and it's been great so far. And I've made some really great friends who have made the whole transition a lot easier.
I'm sure having a dog on tour is actually a lot of work. And Ben's caddies a little bit. He does a lot of media stuff, but there's his dog on screen, and he just got married. So like he's juggling a lot of new things on the road.
Yeah, Jen, I don't know if you remember, you've petted my dog before at some point, some event. I just remember that. I don't know why, but
I was like, I feel like I have. Your dog looks familiar.
yeah. I think it might have been preserved because the MVP guys were there and I was there a lot. So
that would make sense. Yeah.
So that sounds awesome. And so you said things work out, give yourself 3 years. I'm going back to what you just said there. After Ben put his dog up, I got thrown off. After 3 years, if it's going well, like give yourself 3 years. So to you, what's your criteria for going well? So I've been at tour events. I've filmed, I've stayed out. I've done things over the past 5 years. Well, I've been playing for 18, but on tour, I've done some stuff. What would your level of success be is it I can survive on tour, like financially? Is it just scrape by and have a lifestyle? What is your level of success to say, maybe I'll keep going?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like one thing would be like cashing every weekend. Obviously, you're probably going to have a bad weekend here or there. If you don't cash one weekend, like that doesn't really define you. But cashing consistently, and then, yeah, being able to support yourself on tour. I think it is like a lot of people are kind of scraping by year after year, and um, I found like with vending, you're able to like interact with more people and generate a fan base, which is really amazing. And I love just getting to like hear people's stories and talk to everybody about like why they love certain discs and all of that. And so I found vending really helps, and that's something I'll probably continue doing just because like that's how I'm able to make it on tour right now is by vending. So I think with consistently cashing and a good contract, hopefully you're able to support yourself, and that would be making it successful on the tour.
Okay.
yeah, I will say you're one of the. I mean, I'm obviously at every event. You're one of the biggest hustlers on tours. Some other people that come to mind are like Chandler Kramer, you, and I always see you out there vending. Even like after your round, like that's when I see you the most. After your round, you're at somewhere. If the MVP guys are there, you're there or somewhere. So yeah, kudos to you. I think that's what it takes. I've said it before on the podcast, like you got to make it happen. And I've said you got to get sponsored by a sunglass company. That was one of my references, but that's what I meant is like, you got to make it happen in any way you can.
I did not do the double check math, and I'm not a data scientist, but you're making the playoffs, right? Probably straight through MVP if you want MVP Open.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I'm in 26th
Yeah.
right now in the standings,
Yeah.
so I haven't been invited to MVP yet, but I think in the next wave I should
Okay.
get the invitation.
Yeah, I don't think it was really that close, but I didn't want to say, hey, congrats. But yeah, so you'll be out at the MVP Open at Maple Hill. That's right in our backyard, or at least I should speak for myself. Nick's in my backyard in Leicester, and we'll come by and say hi because Ben says you're out hustling after every round. I'm sure we'll see you and get to meet in person.
Yeah, I'll be at the MVP tent.
Yeah, perfect.
Sense.
They have a big tent set up there, so that's awesome. And by the way, you mentioned Raven Newsom's wife. I happen to buy his wife's relative's house, so I have some connection. So we're right in the neighborhood. So she's like, I used to swing on that rope swing in the backyard. Is it still there? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, it makes me have tears. so there's a connection there to MVP in all different ways. But yeah, so this was fantastic. Through the interview process on this show, this is our 6th season, 250th episode. I've met a lot of people through interviews that I feel like I eventually kind of get to know, and I've never met them in person sometimes, and it's just really cool. Thank you for taking your time on here. Josh, Nick, any closing thoughts or questions before we let her go?
No, just best of luck throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
you'll have to take a look at the stats for our game Pop Drop Lock and see what you can come up with for that. We should check. Is there a quick way, Josh? You run stuff because you scrape it sometimes. I think that's the right word. Just for fun, how often has Jennifer Smiley been picked?
Well, I can tell you 7 people this week picked Jennifer Smiley to pop off. So Jennifer, what that means is they looked at your historical average,
Which was 20, whatever,
yeah,
28.
They looked at your historical average and said, we think she's going to outperform her average this particular weekend. And then based on how far you outperform your average, they get points for our game.
So you got them points.
Yeah. So, but
Nice.
7 people picked you, which maybe doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 7 people who looked at your name and said, I think she's going to outperform. So that's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't know, but there you go. Fun fact, nobody picked Owen Scoggins at the World Championship. So that's surprising, right? But nobody was talking about her up to that point. So I think even Owen's on record saying I would have been happy with a top 10. So it's like, but the game's kind of fun to look at. And guess who's Owen Scoggins this week, just for fun data, based off of Worlds and Ledgestone, 52% of the field picked her to win this one. So it was like, everyone's like, okay, we're on the Owen train now. So it's kind of funny how that works. So
wow, Jen getting a 6th and a 5th. That's
yes.
But your average is, a little bit higher than that. People are going to start thinking you're going to be a good pick.
Exactly.
I know you're not thinking about our game, but it is fun to see how fans speculate on player performance.
Yes.
And how much you can sway that by finishing 6th and then 5th on those 2 events. Like, people notice. And it's also not a coincidence that we reached out and said, come on the show. So you're obviously doing some great work. So good job and congrats on that.
Right.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Is there anything else like you're like, oh, I wish they would have asked, or it's something that you can say that would help people
I have a
support you?
question. Is this your first podcast, disc golf podcast interview?
Come on. Can't be.
I was on one other, the In the Bag podcast with
Wonderful.
Robbie C.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
shout out
Nice.
Robbie.
What a
Shout out
guy,
Brad.
Robbie.
Robbie who?
Yeah, Robbie's great.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh man, I thought we would have been. It's okay. It's okay. Well, you're gonna have many more to come. Many more podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should have said, is this the best podcast you've been on, Ben? But she doesn't have to answer that.
Ooh, one more question.
Well, we're 2 different podcasts. Robbie
Yeah,
C
yeah.
talks about her bag and what's in it.
One more
interviewed
question.
Which
her.
we did not. So.
One more question. When you were coming into disc golf, how big of a deal was Paul MCBETH?
Oh, he was huge.
Yeah. What did
was,
this mean? What did this mean
the
to
goat.
you this
Goat.
weekend? And you're a player. Did it give you any feels? I know a large percentage of fans had feels. Were people on the ground talking about this? Was this a big moment for disc golf?
Yes, absolutely. Like, Paul is first and foremost, like, genuinely one of the nicest people out there. Like there are some people who you're like, oh, like they seem nice, but like I'm not sure. he is 100% so incredibly kind and genuine. So just like seeing someone like that win, regardless of like how many times they've won, is always really, really awesome to see. But yeah, just seeing him like win after I think it's like 2 years of not winning on the tour to
Yep.
come back and win this event with his son and his wife there was just amazing. I'm so, so happy for him.
Awesome. Thank you for your perspective on the ground and everything you brought to the show tonight. People are going to love the interview. And we have your social media as far as Instagram up there. Is there another way people can join it and support you on tour through MVP purchases in person, obviously, but is there anywhere else they can go?
Yeah, so obviously, like MVP, I pretty much only vend in person, but I have a retail sponsor, Tree Magnets, and I just sent some discs over there. So you might be able to catch like a couple of my discs if you're quick when they put them up. And then I'm also supported by Chains or Die Howie as my die sponsor.
Awesome. Well, the chat loved this. I can tell.
Also, I'll say it right here. Put this on record. The best last name in disc golf.
Yeah.
The
Smiley
best.
is insane.
That is like I wish that
There's-
was my last name.
Ben.
Ben Smiley? Benny Smiley? Oh my goodness. I'd be famous
On
with
the
that last name.
Funzy podcast that you have, Smiley. Dude,
I have one of my logos is a smiley face. Wait, I have my logo that I created. I haven't shown it.
He's
It's
not-
literally Ben as a smiley face.
my wife would be like, you don't have to
Love
say it
that.
the negative. I would say, Ben's not wrong. My wife would say the positive way. Ben is absolutely right. So I'll say it that way. There are some bad last names out there. I'm not going to go on record saying what they are, but there are some bad ones. Smiley is like, you probably get talked about all the time. I was Graham Cracker growing up just because of the sound of my last name. You get Smiley, and probably some days you don't feel Smiley, but I don't know. It's just part of who you are.
That's the logo I developed. But wait, there's more. Ready? Oh, wrong way. Wait, ready?
What?
Read it this way. Says
Ben.
Ben.
Oh, I
Nice.
see it.
Whoa!
Nice.
How smart is
How
that?
smart.
I have not shown that to anyone. Maybe I should start making merch.
Yeah, he just blew my
It's like
mind.
I'm revealing a logo. Someone steals it.
Yeah, I was
Jen-
gonna say
you
someone's
could,
gonna steal
instead
it.
of Ben, you could probably make Jen somehow.
Oh,
Anyways,
you
all right.
could.
I don't know.
You could.
It's a figure.
That's an
Similar.
idea.
It's an
I
idea.
didn't even
Yeah, I don't
realize
have
that.
a
You
logo
guys can
yet.
collab later. He's on the road. You're
There you
on the
go.
road. All right, cool. Well, we do thank you for your time very much, Jen. This was fantastic. Appreciate it. And good luck out there. And like I said, we'll probably be able to actually meet in person at MVP Open. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, I'd love that. And thank you so much for having me on. This has been amazing.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining.
All right,
Peace.
we'll talk to you later. Peace out. Well, there you go. Good chat. Feel like I know a lot more about her than I ever did. I knew she was on tour, and I tracked her name for years, for 2 years. First time actually talking with her. So
Yeah, kudos to her. She's been definitely one of the pop players of the year.
All right.
Compared to last year.
I really just have this feeling of wanting to jump into talking about what it means in Paul McBeth's round. If you're good with that.
Yes. You
Can you
want to
put
talk
on
about
the
what
sad music though?
Yeah,
Like the
Matt, if you're good with this, you want to talk about what it means, and I do too. But let's take like 5 minutes and talk about like what happened. Or you want to jump right to what it means? Go
I
ahead.
just want to say that what happened is Paul just enhanced his legacy by beating the best player and most skilled player that disc golf has ever seen. And if he didn't do this, it would turn into arguably another Ken Climo conversation of, well, he never beat the best. He never beat Paul McBeth at Paul McBeth's best. Now, if Ken Climo had done that, if Ken Climo had beat 2015 Paul or anywhere in that real vicinity, the conversation to me and Ken Climo is like significantly different. It's like he did do it. The fact that Paul had 2 years off and the argument was going to be Paul never beat the best. And even Gannon brought this up, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. The skill of disc golf has changed. So to me, Paul didn't need this for his legacy, but he just enhanced it to the point that if he never wins again, he did do it. That's all. Now you can talk about how it played out. It's just been burning in me. I just feel like that's like, in my mind, I'm like, this is actually epic. So like what happened was Paul took it down in dramatic fashion. He had to hold on. I don't know if he could have done it at he didn't do it at Ledgestone, but this course, everything about it, the competition played out perfect for Paul. And someone like AB gets 41st place. You know, like it's not like everybody was there at the top. Paul was playing a tough situation. So
yeah. Well, the way I want others to weigh in, the way it went down definitely enhances that your narrative there, Matt, as well. Like the final round, for the most part, Paul and Gannon were separated from the field coming into that round. And it one stroke. And then even during the round, and we can talk about some of it if we want, right? But there was actually like Paul comes out and starts kind of running away with it and then doesn't. And then Gannon throws this crazy blind eagle. Next, you know, a couple holes later, Gannon's ahead. And then they're both kind of messing up, taking risky putts all the way down to the end with a one-stroke lead. Gannon throws an incredible, I'm fast-tracking the narrative, incredible shot on 18. Paul hangs on, however you want to like interpret that. But here's my real point, and then we can go back and pick it apart. Is yes, Matt, it was an incredible. It felt a little bit like a heavyweight battle, where it's like, oh, like you won round one, and then we tied round two, and then you knocked me out, but I stood up before the count, and we just kept going back and forth right down to the very end, which is why some people are saying it's the most exciting round. And to your point, Matt, like the narrative, because it's Paul and Gannon, like you can't ask for much more. Like, so yeah, it was awesome. Nick, obviously you enjoy disc golf in general, but you know, you've got the connection with Paul, so I'm sure you were like psyched. And then Ben, you're not rooting against Paul, but you're caddying for Gannon. So maybe you are. I don't know.
No,
so like, we have this whole like.
I will go on record. I'm 100% rooting against Paul.
Okay, all right.
You're rooting for him to do bad, or you just mean you want Gannon to win? Which way?
I feel like it's one and the same, right?
No, it's not. You want to beat somebody at their best. So you want Gannon to win. If you're like, I want Paul to mess up, I want Paul to lose.
Yeah, I don't want Paul. Like, if Paul's in like 20th place, I'm not like, Paul. I'm not like looking at the leaderboard. Paul, go to the 70th place. I'm saying it could have been anyone. It could have been Isaac, Ezra, like literally anyone. I'm just saying, like, you know, when I'm caddying for Gannon, obviously I want him to win. So I am rooting against anyone. It could literally be anyone. It could have been Nick. You know, if he was in the lead, I'm rooting against them to lose.
Me?
Yes, everyone.
No, you would root for me to beat Gannon. You would literally root for me to beat Gannon.
No, I wouldn't.
You'd be like, bro, you just beat Gannon. And we'd be screaming and jumping like little kids on the, you would be like,
it's like being on the team and then rooting for the other team.
So you would be sad if I won? You'd be sad if I beat Gannon. You would be sad.
Yes.
Like, actually.
Yeah, see, as
I think it'd be super cool, but I'd be like, dang it.
Yeah, Ben, I'm on your side with this. I'm on your side with it.
I completely understand. So that's what I'll say. At the same time, like, I think it was good for disc golf for Paul to win. What I mean by that is the excitement of the sport, the narrative. Matt, you asked Jen about like, you know, what's the kind of general feel, and it's like, yes, this is a big deal. And so I think overall, like, it's just like, it's an awesome story. I mean, listen to this. You ready? Very, very basic. So first of all, Paul has now won an Elite Series event at 14 different years. That's a long time, right? There was obviously the 2-year gap between wins. What's kind of crazy to me is like during that time, here, hold on, I'm going to pull something up.
A PowerPoint?
Nope. That would be like good.
Next level.
Next level. Virtual
I will
reality.
say, like, I'm happy that like Paul did win now that he won, and like Paul's like a really good guy, and he's amazing, and he's really super cool to talk to. I'm just saying, like, in that scenario, yeah, like I'm just like, no, like I hit a tree, like on 18, and when it squeaked left, I'm like, please hit something, hit something, hit something. Never hit a thing, and it's just like at that point, me and Gannon like knew. Yeah, it's over. Once it didn't hit anything and kind of made it out, and we didn't even know it hit a final tree and rolled out. We just knew, like, kind of, it was just like he's not
in a decent enough spot.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah. He wasn't totally trapped or even OB. So yeah. So first of all, some people are saying, isn't it only 1 year? It was one season. 2024, he didn't win, but it was actually 2 calendar years.
Over 2 years.
Yeah, right. So like July 2023 to August 2025. So that's when we're saying 2 years, but really only one full season of not having a win. But listen, during that stretch, so if we're going to call it a drought, which is the word that was used on the commentary, etc. During
so
that,
funny to call that drought.
I know, but just to be clear, so this goes a little bit to Matt's point, is like, if he has to beat anyone, beating Gannon is pretty important, because during this stretch, Paul played 37 events with 0 wins and averaged 18.5 finish place. Now, you look at tour points, etc. He still was like performing fairly well, and he's been vocal about that, saying he didn't really have like bad years. He just wasn't winning. Okay, but just so hear that again: 37 events, averaging 18th place, no wins. During the exact same stretch on the calendar, Gannon played 44 events, so played a few more events, had 13 wins, and averaged 5th place during the same stretch. And so, like, we already knew this. I'm just emphasizing it with some stats. Is like, if you're going to come out and beat somebody and say like, hey, I'm not gone yet, even though he did a retirement post. I'm being a little facetious because he talked about retirement years ahead, right? So it's not a retirement post, but like, it's on the mind, but he's saying like, but I'm not gone yet. And then, by the way, all the other things we can talk about, how like it's from a life standpoint, he talked about he's been winning at life. And then almost by accident gets to have Hannah and Pablo there for his first win since 2023. A lot's happened in his life since then. So there's just so many cool parts about the narrative. And to Ben's point, you can be happy for Paul, even though during round 3, you're only rooting for Gannon.
You mentioned like retirement posts and quotes, if you will, but even his post today, which was like recognition, of the accomplishment. He says, he says Mamba out. That's cool.
It was 8/24. It was Mamba Day.
Okay. And
Kobe
then,
Yeah.
I want to see,
Both
there
his
was
numbers.
one other thing in
People
here.
that don't know.
He said, hopefully we get to talk to him about this. I don't see it here, but the future of sport is bright and in good hands. Almost as if he's already acknowledging, like, I've passed on the torch. This is a moment for me. It feels that way to say the sport's in bright, it has a bright future.
I think it's acknowledging that this is a transition time, which you have to acknowledge. I think at the same time, getting a win says, but I'm not gone yet, because he literally could get, would any of us be surprised? Because he's been performing well. We've just seen inconsistency, right? That's what we've seen. And like, would you be surprised if he gets 5 more wins over the next 5 years and gets another major? Like, I'd be like, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like, he's one of the top performers in the game. Is Gannon more likely to get those wins? Yes, he is. But like, Paul's not done. Paul's not done.
Paul's always there. He was there on Ledgestone. We were on his card. That wasn't feature card. I think I think it was. He did well there. Again, two rounds. I think we were with him on lead card. So he's always there. But one of my memories with Paul this weekend is round 2. We're in the warm up area. Gannon's warming up, obviously, and Jesse Longnecker and Gannon are like trying to putt. It's super windy for some reason in the warm up area, and they're just like not making their putts like from like 25, 30 feet. They're like kind of like. Then Paul, same wind, just steps up like a minute later, like 50, 60 footer, drains one. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Throws up another one, drains another. And I literally said, I'm scared. And I wasn't sure if he heard me. That was the round where he had those huge throw-ins, 13 down. That's the second round, obviously. And then I talked to him after the round. He's like, did you hear me say that? He's like, yep. So that was funny, a little memory, because I was like, I'm scared, because he nails 2 60-footers in like 15-mile-per-hour wind. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a
That's
crazy round.
Yeah, and it was a crazy round.
13.
Ben, we're obviously not directly interviewing you, but you were on the ground, so I'm curious. Like,
Yeah.
what did it feel like? And maybe just express your own emotions. But if you felt like you could see Gannon's emotions or Paul's in the post-round interview, Paul mentioned a little bit about the nerves he was feeling, because this is tight. This is to the point where like you've gone back and forth and traded the lead, and you got one stroke, and on that course you hit a wrong tree, you lose the stroke. Like, could you feel like, I called it a heavyweight battle? Did it feel like that there, or is the feeling different?
I think the feeling's there in person rather than on commentary, and by that I mean I think you viewers at home might get a little more emotional and like on edge about it because you have the commentators, you have the live cuts, you have the replay. Like they're building up a story. There, it's obviously, you know, I'm seeing it live, but it's not as like it's still like impactful, and
it's not as punch for punch, right? Like you're actually watching it unfold over time.
It's like, okay, again, he's off, then we have to wait a minute, then Paul's tees off, and then so yeah, exactly. Like I still had the nerves like on 18.
There still must be though. Let me, if not to cut you off, I want to ask you specifically.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's why I'm cutting you off, because I've watched plenty of live events also, and maybe it's different because you're caddying, but there are still moments when you're there live where you're like, this is it. This could be a dagger. This could, like, in other words, the eagle on 16 when Gannon hits the putt that he hit every day that week, right? Like, there's still those moments where you must feel like you, like, it's like, okay, like, does that turn the tide on Paul?
Okay, yeah.
Like, so you're feeling that sway, and is that like, you got to be feeling that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess something like 16 is better to experience in person because I'm like, you feel that crowd energy, and I'm screaming, let's go, and the energy is crazy. But I'm just saying, like the overall arc, you guys probably felt more of a punch. But yeah, there's select moments that feel a lot better. Like on 18 when Gannon pipes that drive, and like it's the farthest drive that hole's probably ever seen, and you know that was hype. Too.
Or like, but what about what hole did they both struggle on? Was it 13?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, what's that feeling like? Like, I mean, because that
was
felt
the
like
double OB hole that was a double bogey for.
Oh yeah,
yes.
That felt like
defeat.
Gannon goes OB for, he's like guaranteed double bogey. Paul literally has a simple upshot for birdie, nails the tree. From our angle, it starts rolling towards the OB.
Like
it goes over a hump, and we're like, oh. And I was like, he might have just blessed us. I kept saying that, like when Paul
might have just blessed us.
When Paul messed up a few times, like there was one time I forget where he didn't like.
Oh, he missed the putt
properly. That and there's one before, and I was like, dude, that was a blessing because
the cut could have been on the veteran,
the dagger there. But there's one that obviously there, but there's one before that where Gannon was like gonna par and he should have birdied, and we're like, that was a blessing. But the
short ace hole, the forehand hole. Paul didn't get that 30 circles edge putt.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. Probably
that's a blessing.
Probably that. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. I was like, that was a blessing. But yeah, that when Gannon goes double B, which by the way, like the porta potty door, I don't know if you guys can hear it on coverage, slams as he's throwing, but he gets like a double kick. Oh, so it's like, but then for Paul to mess that up, it gave us hope. It was like, oh my goodness. And then we thought it might have been OB, and we were like, dude, we are right back in this, but it wasn't OB. And that was kind of like the shift again, where it's like, okay, now we're chasing Paul again after being up only one hole. We're chasing him again. And then there's moments like I can remember like hole 17 where Gannon, we're like Gannon's talking to me through it. Like, you know, I'm not just a pack mule. I do talk to him and we converse about certain strategies and things. So like on 17, we're just talking about like, should he run that putt? Because
were you talking about should Paul or should Gannon run the putt?
Gannon. Yeah, we're talking through it, and well, you know, we came to the decision that we are okay with being down 1 on 18 because we know Gannon has piped it before and nailed it, and Paul yesterday was early, and he did early again, but both times he actually got through, which is hilarious. But yesterday he was early, so we felt comfortable. Obviously Gannon did run it. It wasn't like you should lay up, but it wasn't like a fully, you know, he did his knee thing. It wasn't like okay, I have to hit this, run it, whatever happens. If it goes a V, it's over. Like it was a bit more so to kind of keep himself in it, just in case he did miss it. But we thought it was in, and it hits off the top. And then 18, we felt comfortable going into 18 because just of the previous analysis that Paul early, and that's exactly what happened. It just didn't.
That was a crazy
go
shot
his
by
way.
Gannon on 18.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like, dude, I was so nervous. I was probably more nervous than him. I was like, and then he nails it, and yeah. So I don't know.
Maybe it's obvious because he had to. Gannon, I presume, was trying to throw it in on 18 and just got caught up in the tree, right? Like, I mean, that's what was happening there.
Yeah, exactly.
That was crazy.
I mean, it's like pretty much impossible to throw it in from there. You have to like do a
huge spike forehand.
I don't even know, because of that tree.
Nothing skipping in that grass. So
no, trees are too much in the way. But well, anyway, so for me, it's interesting because it's not in a plus event and it's not a major. But Idlewild has history, and to Matt's point that he had to get out earlier, like there is a different narrative on the line because of who it was and how it went down. So if you add all that up, I'm like, for me, purely on an excitement scale, and therefore enjoyable or whatever else you want to put in parentheses, that is the top round for me. Like I was sitting down in my living room, and I consume so much disc golf that I don't always sit down and watch every event. I kind of like feel it out and decide and this was like, I'm sitting down and
this
other
was
people
get
in the living room with me, and you watched it.
Yeah, this was
Like,
get
you
a
watched
snack
it.
and like sit back. Like it was a different event for most people.
I'm doing my own like commentating. I'm like, oh, he's definitely hitting that birdie on 16. And on commentary there, I'm like, no, I turned to my wife. I'm like, he's definitely hitting it. And of course he smashes the putt. And I'm like, you could just feel it. Like you could feel it. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he went 6 down on that hole. He went eagle every time, and each putt.
What did your
closest
friend
putt was like 40-something feet.
What did your friend Matt text you before hole 16? As in me. I said,
oh, during the event. Yeah,
during the event, because
round.
Ben's texting us live commentary too. And I said, and Gannon's going to step up and eagle 16. And then he did. It's like, we were watching it like that. That's my point. I'm not trying to be like, oh, look what I texted. It's like, we were watching it eagerly. So it was awesome.
A lot of fun. Those types of rounds are what keeps me coming back to watching professional disc golf. Clearly, I'm on a podcast. I like everything about the pro disc golf scene, but those kinds of rounds are like the fuel.
So
it's like you're so excited. You're like, this is
was
incredible.
big, and I want Nick's perspective, and we'll pass it to him because I know he's got some stuff to say. This was big, but because of what I already said, like who he beat. But we all know it would have been even bigger had this been a major. And where my brain is going is Tiger Woods coming back and winning Masters. I feel like I want that moment. Like that would be like comparable in my mind to like a Tiger Woods doing that. Like this was close. This was a big win. And because of what I already said, I won't keep repeating it. Will we ever see that moment? That's the one that I'm still salivating for. Nick, what do you got on this?
I'm trying to think. So, I mean, the round in and of itself was awesome to watch. And I think as the sport has grown, like I was looking back, I played Idlewild back in 2017. Conrad won it and he won $2,500 for winning. It was a pro tour event. Paul won 13 grand for winning it. You know what I mean? Like multiple people probably made more than what James Conrad made 8 years ago at this event. So it's awesome to see that the Pro Tour stayed there because I do very much enjoy this course. And I think the Pro Tour, I'm going to give them a shout out on DGN, is they've gotten so much better at filming woods courses. So I know we don't always love wood courses because they can't get a ton of spectators there, but the spectating scene seemed awesome out there.
There was a lot of people there too.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I was like,
there was
18. I was like, wow, there's a ton of people.
Yeah, oh yeah. And so, but shout out to the film crew. Like it was super enjoyable to watch. That's the kind of disc golf that I very much enjoy. And so being able to watch what looked like a vintage Paul, right? Like him and I were texting before his first round. And, you know, even after last week at Ledgestone, he
Is the
called
curse
me up.
broken, Nick?
I don't know, you know, I don't know. So we'll see. But
he doesn't want to say.
he had called me up last week was my birthday, and he had called me up and wished me a happy birthday. Talked to him, Hannah, Pablo for a little bit while they were at Ledgestone. And we were talking about his putt, talking about his throws. And then at Idlewild, the putting, like Ben was saying on the practice screen, but even just in the round in general, besides for that one spit out and the one kind of miss putt that he had on 9, it looked very, very vintage. Like 35, 40 footers were just dead center. Throws were awesome with minus a couple of fluffed forehands and some upshots like the really bad hole that the two had on the Y hole. Some shots like that, but all in all, it was a really, really good battle watching two of the best players in the sport compete at a very high level. Like, you can look at Paul's shot in 18. I know Ben and I have talked about this a little bit, but Paul's shot in 18, was bad enough to be good. Like, it missed the trees on the left side to be just far enough left to where it ended up.
Be lucky than good.
In a sense,
Sometimes.
yes, in certain situations, 100%. But you can also see kind of like the maturity that Paul had throughout the tournament. So on hole 1, the first 2 days, he ripped it and kind of ripped it over. He got the birdie on it, but it made it difficult. In the last round, he just piped something right down the middle. And I think that was a huge help to Brad Schick, keeping him calm, collective, giving him helping out. I'm sure like Ben is doing for Gannon. But yeah, it was a very clean tournament. Gannon had 4 or 5 eagles throughout the tournament. And then, Paul just had a ton of birdies with few mistakes. And Gannon was bogey free up until the final round. Until that bad hole, he was bogey free, right? So
I was about to say, like,
they were both playing
we could ask
such
Gannon
top level. Yeah, they were such top level disc golf that I think when the two are playing their best, they're the two best players in the sport. When it comes down to like legitimate skill, those are the two best players in the sport right now at their best. There's no one that's better than them.
Oh,
yeah.
So fair take, but it'd be interesting to hear other people's reaction to that. We do have Gannon in the green room if and when you're ready.
Yeah, jump it over.
Yeah, bring him in. But I do want to say, bring him in. It has to do with Gannon.
Gannon.
So one of the things.
Wait, he's got a green screen. Take that portrait off the wall, and you got a green screen right there.
I feel like we should be. I don't know. I mean, we don't usually bring on a player who's like, I just didn't win.
Hey, our best episode ever was right
Paul
after
McBeth
2021, second place at 21 Worlds.
We're like, Paul, tell us how it felt to lose.
Yeah, 150,000 views is awesome.
No. Oh, that's right. I think I did for Jennifer Smiley too, but I'm going to double check this one. He's like, I already feel it smoking.
What I was going to say is one of the things that Gannon said to me that stuck with me, and it is true. And he said, you just can't win tournaments making these mistakes. And I think, Gannon, you made more mistakes, way more mistakes than, is he even here anymore?
Yeah, he's here.
It made more mistakes than
they
the
don't
first.
hear him, but anyway.
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
He made more mistakes in the first 2 rounds, and then the third round, it was a lot more. But luckily, Paul also made mistakes. But it was just kind of one of those things where Gannon could have won, but it was just more mistakes than the first 2 rounds, and that's what you said to me that stuck out. You're like, you just can't win tournaments making these mistakes. But fortunately, you were still in it somehow.
Or
somehow.
So
well, you did hit some good putts. The eagle probably helped.
The eagle throw in, the eagle putt, on day 1, putting it to 20 feet. Those things kind of helped out Gannon.
I'm talking about round 3.
Nobody's heard a word out of Gannon because I had him muted at first. They're trying to guess if he was lip syncing or read whatever. So no, he's not. We're gonna ask him this question. I just made a statement about Paul McBeeth, this enhancing his legacy because beating, and you didn't say this, but you talked about disc golf being more talented nowadays than before. So I'm taking the next step to say Gannon is the most skilled player of all time in disc golf. And for Paul McBeeth to beat you, I compared to, and maybe this is a bad comparison, but Ken Climo, if he ever beat Paul at Paul's prime, it would be a different story for Ken Climo conversation. I feel like for Paul, this changes the conversation with him to, if he never wins again, and it's weird talking with you on here, but if he never wins again, to say, I did beat Gannon at his prime, for him, it means something. I don't know. How did this unfold for you? You are obviously in the competition. What is it like to go against Paul McBeeth? You've done it before. You've lost to him before, but never as the number 1 player. So what was this like?
Yeah, it was definitely weird because we have gone into final rounds, even at majors before, where we were tied going into the final round and stuff like that, but it kind of just, either I pulled away early or, something like that happened, So this is the first time that it was really just us at the top. And Obviously, it pretty much lasted until the last hole. So I think it would more appeared as the only time we've ever really had a battle, even though there's been chances in the past, but nothing really came out of it. I mean, yeah, I mean going against Paul, it was definitely like a weird feeling in the air, just because I felt like everybody wanted him to win, which was completely fair. And I was saying, like, there's been so many times where I want players to win, but I'm the one that is also in contention. So it's like, when like Luke Humphreys had a couple, hot tournaments there last year, like, but I was the last guy he had to beat, and it was like, dang, like I really want Luke to win, but I can't just obviously let him win. So it was kind of felt like one of those situations, and you know, I don't know. I really wanted to hold my ground and get this win, and I didn't play my best golf, but I feel like I did a decent job of staying in it and always being clutch when I needed to. So you know, I can't be too mad about it. But playing against him is definitely like you can see why it could be definitely be scary, especially like in the past when he was like in his super prime where he was just not messing up. It felt like.
When you say you didn't play your best disc golf, right? Like how many players are actually coming out of a tournament and saying, yes, I played my best disc golf, especially after a loss? Like no one, I don't think, is going to come out and say I played my best disc golf. Do you think you and Paul both played really good disc golf though? Or do you yourself think you played really good disc golf? Because coming from our vantage point, you guys played awesome. Like it was incredible to watch all the way down to the 54th.
You played
hole.
your rating, or you played 1 point below your rating.
Yeah,
which on a course like that, you're not going to get high ratings compared to like a Ledgestone with a Eureka and everything.
Terrible.
Yeah, so don't worry about the ratings in effect.
5 to 7 points low.
Yes.
I don't know. Especially the course like Idlewild, and why I'm not too satisfied with my performance was there's so many holes in that course that I just guarantee as a birdie, no matter what, going into the hole. Even though I didn't get it hole 1, like that's just a guaranteed birdie in my mind. I did play it 3 under because I got the eagle one of the rounds. A hole like hole 3, I just guarantee. Hole 6, I guarantee. Hole 11, I guarantee. So, and then there's probably like 12, 13, 14. I usually guarantee at least one of those, maybe 2 of them. So at the end of the round, and then you have the par 5. So it's like there's almost 7
eagle.
There's almost 7 under par strokes that I'm guaranteed throughout the round. So because I only shot a 9 under par, it's like I only threw like 2 really good shots. It felt like that's kind of how I look at it in my mind. The way I've been playing, especially par 4 disc golf recently, which has been excelling my skill, my performance level, I believe, is the ability to go extremely aggressive but stay in bounds and be accurate. No one is really ripping a distance driver on hole 18 that hard, that far. I was getting out the gap. And, if you think back to a couple of years, that like no one even considered doing that type of a play. So I think that's just kind of what I've been doing recently. I mean, I'm trying to think of, some more holes like hole 6, just making sure I'm in the woods at some point. And I just had, hole 6, hole 12, 13, 14. If I threw a decent drive, I pretty much had to jump putt into the green every time, and so I'm just breaking these holes down. And I've been doing that recently. Even at like Northwood Black, a couple holes, I'd throw amazing drive on a par 4 and then just jump putt. So I think how I looked at it was, the high level shots, I didn't do my best stuff, and that's kind of just how Idlewild works. There's a lot of luck involved out there, and it's you can only do what you can do, and it seems like it's kind of just a roll of the dice sometimes. Obviously, you can hit the first gap, but then it's kind of just see how it goes from there.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right. Does anyone else have anything? I can keep going. I don't know if am I holding the interview? I figure someone. Yeah, I'm just like, what's up, dude?
How
what's
did
good?
your caddy out there really just like help you out? I mean,
my caddy sucked. Round 1, caddy's like, you have to eagle hole 16. 12 under is the benchmark. You have to get this. And if you don't, you're a failure.
Did he say?
And then guess what you did?
I eagle, but then I was terrible in the last 2 holes.
Bro, okay.
Did
He-
did
he's
you
fibbing.
receive a
That
lot
is
of
not
He
blessings?
misheard me.
Did you
He
receive a lot
misheard
of
me.
blessings that last round? Like that was a blessing. Did Ben did
I told him that I would say that was a blessing when Paul messed up.
Oh yeah. He's like, dude, that was a blessing, bro. I'm like, I know.
We needed it.
I'm constantly telling Ben, I'm like, I need a miracle, dude.
Yeah, well, it works every time. This is the only time when Gannon said, "I need a miracle," and it hasn't panned out.
So
You were
hole
down
8
4.
hole 8 was an early miracle. It's like God knew what you needed before you needed it, but then it was like after that it went the other way. But like let's just go to the hole 8 moment. We see it live, so we knew before you did. I even think with video delay, I knew before you did. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm cheering like what just happened? And then you're waiting. Someone comes down the fairway. Is that when you knew someone was running up down the fairway? Like, dude, that went in.
Yeah, like I guess I was just confused because I was like, why are they so excited? Like it was a good shot, but it wasn't. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
It happened to skip in. I just like. I guess because it's uphill, it just doesn't make sense that you could skip in the basket. That's crazy to me. And it used to be a par 5, like basically an
There's your
albatross. You know? Yeah. So I mean, I couldn't believe it. I needed to get some momentum going. I mean, I tend to find myself saying like, okay, if I can birdie the next 4, I'll be 6 down through 11. And after hole 11, I was 6 down. Obviously, I missed hole 9, but I got the eagle on 8. And
I was like, you got to birdie out.
You've got to birdie out or you'll lose. And then I found myself right where I wanted to be. So, you know, I was feeling fine that I birdied hole 12. I'm like, I'm 7 down through 12 and I've been playing horrible. So, you know, I was honestly feeling pretty good. And then obviously hole 13 happened.
Hole 13, you're the in my opinion, I don't know who else would say this, everybody probably, you're the most skilled player in disc golf. You're very controlled. You throw shots like amateurs will never understand, meaning we throw and we kind of hope things go our way. We're like, I hope it goes down the fairway. You're like trying to hit specific exact spots. What kind of misfire was that on 13? I'm assuming it was a misfire, or was it something else that just happened? I don't know.
It was just a misfire. I mean, I think that's the first time I've missed the gap in 10 tries. I think I've hit that gap the last 10 times except for that. So there's no reason for me to think I'm going to miss that gap. And it is a very tight gap. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just like hole 15 at USDGC. It's a very tight gap, but I've hit it 12 times in a row. But, you know, it's... I won't even lie to you. I don't know why. But my hand was kind of cold that final round, and it wasn't that cold outside. But I was having some grip issues with putting and backhand specifically. Just like kind of getting my fingertips were cold, and I was just getting kind of like sticky, and the chalk was just, I don't know, that was kind of weird. And so I pulled a couple shots, which is like usually my miss. I almost never early release shots. I think it's just the way my form is. It's hard for me to early release, but when I do throw a good shot, it's very committed. So yeah, I threw the same disc out there in the last 2 days. I threw perfect drives and just pulled it into the first tree. Got a, I guess, okay kick. You could say, I mean, you could say bad. It didn't go OB, but maybe if I went OB, I wouldn't have taken a double because I wouldn't have found myself where I was after 3 or after 2. But I throw a really great scramble shot and then got a couple really nasty kicks, just very unlikely kicks. I threw what was an okay forehand. Also, Porta Potty got slammed literally right as I threw the disc. You can hear it. It's like so loud. And I like early release a little bit, and it's a splice, and it's on like a knife hyzer, and it hits the left side of a tree and kicks left. First of all, like that almost never happens when you throw a forehand with that spin and hyzer, and then for it to kick left, and then it hits a second tree and kicks even further left into the creek. So I went double left kick on hyzer with a forehand moving right, both kick left. I'm like, the chances of that happening are so unbelievably rare. And that's just what happens at Idlewild. I mean, it's like my disc skips in, and then that happens where I just get a double kick OB left, and then, you know, 17 is just really a roll of the dice, it feels like, and then Paul squeaks through an 18. Like, you see it happen all over this course, and that's kind of why I don't love this course for tournaments. It's very exciting, but as a player, it's just not what you want to have because it doesn't feel fair sometimes. And like I said in my interview, like everyone gets lucky in bad breaks all the time, but you know,
I tend
just
to
kind of
think
the order of
better
like
you
when
are,
it happened just hurt me a little bit.
the better you are, typically the luckier you are. I'm sure
Yeah.
we've all experienced it. But coming into hole 18, you absolutely destroyed the drive. Like it was,
Yeah.
I mean, perfect. And again, from camera footage, we see you acknowledge how good it is, but we watched the full flight and we're like, that's to the exit of the woods. Like it's perfect. What were your feelings throwing that hole? Do you have nerves? I mean, you've had a lot of moments this year.
I think I was more nervous than
Yeah,
him.
you had a lot of moments this year. Like big moments where now every moment just seems like maybe an opportunity and not something to be afraid of. So like what was the feeling going into 18? Like just pure confidence?
Yeah, it was nervous confidence is what I would call it. I was a little bit nervous because I knew if I mess this up, it's probably over. But I was confident in what I was doing, so it's not like it was like a shaky nervous. Like I was nervous for the moment, but I just knew I was going to pipe the tee shot, and my whole goal was to just strike fear basically, and just show that I was confident. And it worked. Like he definitely had a little bit of an early release there. He hit his angle, I think, like pretty much exactly how he wanted, but just kind of came out early left, which is typically what you see with like a nervous shot. And I mean, he even said he was nervous. So I did my job, and then at that point, it's just like I mean, I've always said out there, it's just you can only do what you can do, and then you see what happens. And whether that's for yourself or your competitors, I knew I had put myself into a deficit coming into that hole, so I did it to myself. Um, so yeah, I could only do what I could do, and I mean, I was happy with my effort.
What
If
was it
Paul's
like?
shot was 1 foot further, even further toward the gap where he was aiming, he could have had a bogey, and I would have won the tournament. There's just so many different ways it could have played out. I mean, I think it, I guess I just thought it would have been so cool if we could have gone into a playoff and had a legendary playoff. Like that would have been so cool.
I was just about to ask, do you have any idea what the playoff format was? I'm sure you do.
18 and
Right?
12.
First of all, it was the worst playoff format they could have possibly had. It was hole 12 and hole 18 on repeat, which hole 12 might be one of the luckiest holes in the course. You just throw it at a wall of trees and hope to get through. And no one can even watch that hole because it's in the back of the woods.
At least it wouldn't have been one hole on repeat. At least there was a glimmer of hope for that. But yes.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to think.
That was a very interesting decision, I believe so.
But we didn't go there.
As cool as the playoff would have felt, it would have been a horrible playoff with the holes that they had decided on. So
I wanted to ask,
whatever.
Did the moment, I'm assuming the moment didn't pass you by, but this is Paul McBeth. This is 6-time world champ. A lot of people call the GOAT. Did this moment pass you by? Like, you're like, obviously I'm calling you the most skilled player. A lot of people see you as that, but like this moment, like you said, it seems like you realize that, right? Like we could have went to an epic playoff. This would have been one for the ages. So like you knew the moment. What was that like coming in? Did that play any factor in your round?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you just dream of these situations and the hype that was built up because of the two players that were at the top. And it was very back and forth. He was up 4 very early, then I cut it, and then I actually got the lead, and then I lost it again, and then he hits that big putt on 15, then I hit a even longer putt on 16 for eagle, and I show some emotion, which I usually don't. I just was like, those are the moments you live for, and then I almost hit my putt on 16 or 17. We both ran our death putts, which is just like stupid to do, but I honestly think both of us thought how legendary it would have been if we would have made them. Like we were just like being greedy.
Hole 17, yeah.
Speak more on that because I felt that. I was like, they're literally both going for what seems crazy to go for. Like you both felt like if we don't get this, we might not win. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, if we both gave our putts very soft runs. You could tell that we didn't give it our full bids, but. I actually missed mine high even, like, so I overcommitted. I actually thought I made my putt, and I was like, that's going to be the greatest putt of all time. But obviously it just didn't quite drop for me. Typically, like, when I do a softer putt, I don't get the nose down, and so from my perspective, I thought I made it, but because it didn't have the nose down, it just didn't drop. So, yeah, that's kind of just what happens there, but yeah, I think we were just both pretty greedy. We just wanted to have a cool moment, and then also have the stroke, obviously. But if I miss that putt and go in the creek, it's pretty much over for me.
It was awesome, man. Right before you got on, we were saying this is, again, because of the moment, because of somebody like Paul McBeeth not having won for a little while, you being the current greatest. We sat down and people were probably all over more than usual, sitting down to actually pay attention, not just watch it on their phone while they're out playing something else or out at dinner. Like they were in their living room watching this one. It was a different feel to it.
It was special, and Kyle threw in. Like, there's just so much going on during this round.
Cool, like, it was so sick. Kyle's throwing was awesome too.
And were you aware of?
He almost broke his leg.
Oh jeez,
we didn't see
that. He threw a shot, and he could barely walk because he
what happened?
He hit his ankle on his stump, and he was just like,
no, he just kicked the leg.
Yeah,
he followed through and kicked it, like when you fall through your left foot. A stump.
Were you not that it ended up playing a huge factor, but were you aware of Cole, quote, popping off to start off the round? Not really.
Yeah, I knew he was playing really good. I just didn't. I mean, I just knew he wouldn't have a chance to win unless. I mean, I don't know. I checked scores, and unless he was at least tied with us, there was no reason for us to think he would come back. I mean, it's just there wasn't enough time left. I think if you gave him some more time, he probably could have, but.
It was too much of a deficit to start, but yeah, third place finish for him. Great. Yeah, and then
Jim Jam Sandwich just donated $20. Shout out.
Yo.
Yeah, that's Nick Carl's cousin, by the way. Did you know that, Gannon?
No.
That's literally
my
Nick
boy
Carl.
James.
He's donated 3 shows in a row, at least $20.
Give James his money back. I'm gonna Venmo him.
No, I think he's sent like $60 in the past 3 days. I'm not
he's
even
paying
joking.
for Nick Carl's something.
That's my boy Jimmy.
So yeah, shout out.
So
you go ahead.
Gannon,
Josh.
did you get a kick out of posting that picture with the handshake? I mean, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's funny, but it's also like really incredible, right? I mean, there's actually an amazing story behind that. Like,
yeah, I mean, it felt like you see it with like the NBA a lot. I feel like where a player takes a picture with their favorite player, and then in 10 years they're playing against them in the league. So that's kind of what it felt like. I mean, that picture was 9 years ago when he came to Des Moines, and he was paving the way for the sport. He was hustling with Nate Sexton, trying to make money and grow his brand by doing the McBeeth or the McBeast tour, the Big Beast Challenge. So I picked out my rock and my destroyer, and then brought my putter, and then I played. And then how it went down was so Paul and Nate both got to play on a card together, or on separate cards, but they got to pick whatever card they wanted to play with. And typically, I believe it was random. But a couple locals told Paul to play with me, and we also had another junior team player on my team or on my card, David O'Mara, and so I played that entire round with Paul, and he did not miss. I beat him on one hole.
Nice.
Yeah, my only question about the picture is like, why did like Paul like shrink so much over all those years?
I don't know why he shrunk. Yeah, it's crazy.
So weird.
I love how
we also took another one that I might post where I'm on my knees and I'm like the same height I was.
Yeah, you should have posted that. I don't know why you didn't. It's hilarious.
I wanted to be a little more professional to start, but maybe we can joke about it after.
There you go.
I love how Paul's hand is up on your shoulder. Like he still did the hand on the shoulder. It's like, is that even Paul's arm? How can he reach that high?
He had to make sure you could see his hand.
Yeah, it's true.
Back into the tournament a little bit. So, we always talk about as media show, we always talk about being, chased down by Paul, right? Sunday McBeast mode. And you both shot 9 down the final round. Like it wasn't the 12 down the first round, the 13 down the second round, but you were competing against Paul, and an epic battle coming from our point of view. Was there any difference competing against Paul in this scenario, like we talk about all the time, or as a player, does it just feel like it could have been anyone? It could have been Isaac Robinson, Ezra Robinson, whoever. You're just competing for the win at that point.
No, I felt like it was about the same as anybody. There's definitely times where he stepped up to the tee box, and I just knew he was going to throw a good shot. But I get that same feeling with a lot of different players. Mm-hmm. And then when they mess up, it's a bit surprising. But you can also kind of feel the moments when they're going to mess up. So, I knew that he's had his struggles this year where he's been in contention, I mean, probably 5 or 6 times and hasn't put it together. So, you know, I knew that was probably looming in the back of his head that he hasn't been able to close it out yet. So I was definitely thinking about that. But I also knew his putting stroke has just been so dialed this week, and even last week. It's been like coming back into form.
Dude,
And
that's
it's a
what I
course
said. His
course
warm-ups were
that sets up
insane.
well for him. Yeah, I mean, he can throw. He doesn't really need to like rip shots. I feel like that was maybe his kind of struggle is where he has to like really rip a shot. On the backhand side of things, I think his forehand's pretty solid when he has to throw hard. But just what I noticed, he was able to like down tempo and throw smoother and slower with backhands and be really accurate, which is obviously like what he's best at. And so yeah, I think like the course is set up well for him. And then when you're putting good, it's usually not windy in the woods. And so he was just making some incredible putts. He's making almost all of his circle ones, a bunch of his circle twos, and then even some further out.
100-footers.
Yep.
Safe to say, I cried for 2 hours last night.
Ben, when you scream, it
Happy
actually
or sad?
screams.
What?
I'm gonna have to go back and edit that. When you scream, your gain is so high.
Safe to say, Gannon was also
Yes.
sad. He didn't go play basketball against Kevin Heimberg at all or anything. He was so sad.
So I dunked on Ben Calloway.
Sick. Nice.
Yeah, it must have had a different feeling because it's not as winning as last year, but you probably have a different feel about this year because it feels more, I don't know. If I had to react, I'd almost say solid, like a world championship, multiple elite series. Feels like it different than last year. It must have a different feeling to lose too, I guess. So
Yeah, I mean, looking at this year, I feel like I should be able to win 3 of the last 5 tournaments. That's my goal, which would put me at 8 wins for the season.
is MVP Open one of those?
There's no way I'm winning that.
Yes, you are.
I always have a glimmer of hope, and then I just am terrible on the last 4 holes.
That's my home course. I believe this year. This is the year.
Maybe it is the year. Maybe it is the year.
It is the year. No, it is the year.
The year to jump
It
in the
is year.
pond.
It is the year.
I don't know why I
wanna
just
win.
had this
I don't wanna
image of
win.
Gannon only knee height in the pond. Like it's
It
like
is.
not
Wow.
deep enough.
It's so dry, yeah.
So, but like, including, my last like 2 months have just been, it could have been an insane stretch of tournaments. I touched a bit on it previously, but I played 4 tournaments in Europe, and the first 3, I had a really good chance to win all 3 of them and kind of lost. And then obviously lost Idlewild. And then I won, obviously, Worlds and Ledgestone. So that was like 6 events in a row where I've been in contention, which is just my goal. That's always my goal. And, they're not all going to go your way, but I got the big one, and that was what was the most important for me. And, I kind of thought like, well, maybe once I win the Worlds, the want to win will die off a bit, and it doesn't. It'll never go. I thought like, oh, I got the Worlds. Like, who cares if I lose another tournament? Like, no, I want to win still. Like, I was very frustrated after losing yesterday. So, yeah, nothing's going to change with how much I want to win, and I'm especially going for this ratings record. And so, according to the calculations, I need to average. Oh gosh, am I good? Am I glitching?
Yes, you are good actually.
Okay, my phone is blowing up. I have T-minus 2 minutes.
Go.
I have to average 1067 at Deglow to get 1063 rated.
All right.
And Deglow doesn't rate that well. It rates better than Idlewild, which is thankfully,
Yeah.
but it doesn't rate the best. Like if it was like Eureka, I'd be like, oh, set,
Yeah.
I got it. But it's not. So we'll see.
Nice. Deglow will be fun to watch. That's in 2 weeks. So, yeah. That'll be a good one to watch. Any changes that you know of? Anything drastic happening out there?
I don't think so. I think probably just a couple different pin positions like it was last year, but that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. How do you enjoy Deglow? So we're going kind of complete polar opposites of courses. We're going to a very, very wooded course into a pretty extremely open course, but I don't know.
Big thumbs down.
Big thumbs down.
If you know me, you know my opinions on Deglow. I think the course has gotten worse over the last 5-6 years in terms of just how it plays. I think when Paul shot his if we can go back to the layout that Paul shot his 18 under on, but then tighten all the OB, I think that's the best version of this course.
Yeah,
I
agree with you.
I just think they went too heavy on like making really hard holes with no out of bounds. And so one that just kills the ratings, but it also just like I feel like kills the fairness of the event because you just throw it to like 60 feet every par 3, miss the putt, and then everybody gets the same score.
Tap
Everyone
in
gets a
3.
3. Everyone gets a tap in 3, and it's like the entire back 9 is that. The front nine's amazing. The front nine deglow is very good. And it's not that any of these holes are specifically bad. It's just when you have them back to back to back to back to back for 9 holes straight, and you pull up the scoring, and all you see is just a strip of white for every single player. Par.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's kind of whatever. So we'll see. I mean, I won there last year, so I can obviously play good there, even if I don't like the place. But, I mean, it's not that bad. There's no course on tour that's just miserable to play. But
well, so that's it. That was actually because I know you're on a ticking time bomb with your phone right now, but like you're critical of courses. So, in your opinion, what's the most fair course that you guys play?
I mean, unfortunately, it's open courses. It's open courses with lined OB. That's as fair as it gets.
Are we talking like Fox Run Open? I know that's a little shorter in general, but like Fox Run, I think kind of has the prettiness of everything. But or are we talking more Eureka Temp?
I was thinking more like Eureka Temp. I don't think there's really like anything fluky out there, and I think it's like designed very well, where there is a risk reward on every single shot. So you see a lot of different game plans and shot shaping styles.
But you don't see gaps hit that much.
Yeah.
Besides for what, hole 7? Yeah.
It's so hard to find courses that have gaps that isn't just fluky. Like I've always wanted to have Mandos in the woods because I hate people. I mean, it's so annoying seeing a worse shot get a better result. I even said it on one of my shots on hole 18 this weekend. I was like, oh, I threw it worse, but it's going to end up better. That should never happen, in my opinion. I know disc golf requires scrambling, but if there is a first gap that everybody is required to hit, that there is no other play, there is no other option. Everyone's trying to hit this gap. I hate seeing stuff squeak through. Gavin even had an idea of a hazard Mando, so you still play where it lies, but with a stroke. So that if you miss the intended gap but get through, you still get the 1-stroke penalty, but play where it lies. So
Matt, there's our clickbait.
Potentially,
Gannon suggests new hazard Mando.
So yeah, I mean, Fox Run's good, but then there's also like a couple holes that have a lot of roots. So and it's never like the course's fault. Sometimes the property and the way the earth is just isn't good. You know, like that's almost every course I've played in Texas is like they just were not blessed with good disc golf land, basically. Just short spiky trees with bad ground, and so I mean Waco's a pretty good course, but it feels more park style than it does like most Texas courses. So I mean, I don't know. I did like Northwoods Black a lot. I think it's getting better every year. It's less poke and hope than a lot of courses. I mean, when W.R. Jackson was at its prime, that was probably the best wooded course. Very defined fairways. Like if you go off the fairway, you're not getting through. There's no way.
Yeah.
But the fairway was wide enough where you probably shouldn't go off the fairway. So it was a good mix of
Very
that.
fair.
Tampere is pretty dang fair, I feel like.
New London.
I like New London a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new layout, but when I played it last year, I liked New London a lot. So
Brewster or
Brewster,
a little too fluky.
I feel like it's gotten a little worse over the last couple of years with that new change to that par 5 that they added. I think it was hole 8.
8 up the hill.
It's just I don't know. Cool hole, but very fluky, I feel like. And then especially, I think it's hole 14 is just like the flukiest hole in the world. You literally just throw it at a wall of trees. Every player throws it at a wall of trees and hopes to get through. And it was like kind of like ruined that.
Yeah.
It kind of like ruined the aspect of the course for me because like that hole used to be a pretty guaranteed birdie, but it was still tricky because you had to get it, and it was fair. There was nothing unfair about it. So obviously you need to make courses harder, but you know, sometimes I feel like people just like luck. You should not have to bring in luck to make a hole harder. That's my opinion. So.
And just increasing the distance of the hole does not make it a better hole. I think that's one thing that a lot, like 14, we're talking about over at Brewster. It used to be a pretty simplistic 300 somewhat foot par 3, pretty much straight up the hill. The miss was you went too early because it's an uphill shot. So a lot of people went early left on it.
Yeah, and it was still flight line. Like it wasn't a straight shot.
Yeah. And now it's like a rip something on an ante or flick, and hopefully you get underneath that last pine, and then you have a putt at it. So it's, yeah, I'm total agreement on that one.
Well, good. His phone just went up in smoke. No, I'm kidding.
Imagine.
Yeah, do you see the smoke from Massachusetts?
Well, one thing I realized when you joined for the behind the scenes is you were sending me 60 frames a second, which is more than anybody else is doing. So I definitely dropped that. So
yeah, he loves
your
his
phone's
60
too
frames.
good, dude. Ben's barely on
Too
2 frames a second.
Not bad.
Awesome stuff, dude. Even in a loss, we're asking you like a lot of questions about it because it was so good. I think I saw some betting odds were like better or worse than 1.5. Like
what?
Yeah, like on you. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm okay with my finish. It's not a course I expect to do well at. So to play good in the woods the last couple weeks has felt nice.
Well, it's pretty awesome, dude.
Yep.
All right, that's it.
Right.
Appreciate your time, dude.
Best of luck over at D-Glow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Yep. Bye. Take it easy, buddy. So, and I know Josh just texted us about PDL stuff, which we definitely should get into. I think when we were talking about earlier, and Gannon brought it up, he was like, he felt like so many people were pulling for Paul to win, right? Now you could take this and go back to 2015, go back to 2019, and people were pulling for other people to win rather than Paul. Gannon's in the Tom Brady Patriots era, right? Like he's in the I'm winning every single tournament. So yeah, you're always rooting for the underdog. Like a lot of people love rooting for the underdog. And it's weird to say that, hey, McBeth right now is an underdog, but in a sense, compared to Gannon, everyone's an underdog, right? Because of how good he is. So Gannon's in that level of really, really freaking good to where he's in contention just about every single week. So yeah, crowds. This is like the biggest example that I could think of it is, you know, back in 2017, 2018, 2019, when I started traveling around a little bit more for tournaments with Paul and Hannah and kind of like got my feet wet in the pro tour, whether it was playing or just casually being there as a spectator, it was Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki. And the crowds with Ricky just go ballistic. Anytime Ricky pulled out the raptor legs, right? Like everyone went ballistic. Matt, I mean, we've saw it numerous times over at Maple Hill. Just that final moment of like Ricky getting the win, or even talk 2021 Worlds, right? The best shot ever in disc golf happens and everyone goes absolutely ballistic for the other person. And so that's just where Gannon's in an incredible spot right now in the sport where he's the best player, currently rated number one, the number one ranked player in the world, could very well potentially be the highest rated player ever to win. And I know I've been on record saying that no one's ever going to touch the 1060s that Paul did. And here we go. We're talking about Gannon probably in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, cresting over that mark, which is just a testament to his skill level right now. So it's really cool. I definitely understand what Gannon is saying with that, but it is a pretty cool place to be at the top of the game to where, in a sense, people are rooting for you not to win. And I know it's not like there are people out there that don't want Gannon to win, right? Like every single top player in the sport has people that just don't like them as a person in general, but he's in a spot right now where he's literally at the top of the game. Mm-hmm. And this is where, I mean, shoot, we saw it with Kristen, a year or two ago, talking about the 5 majors, like the Grand Slam, and then you get other players coming up. You get the Owen Scoggins, you get the Silva Sarinens, you get the Evelinas winning the Worlds, right? And so, yeah, it's just sports. It's great. I thought, awesome tournament. I know I said it in the group chat. It was definitely one of my most favorite tournaments to watch in a long time. I was definitely glued every single round. Fortunately, was able to watch just about every single shot, which was pretty great.
It was good.
I agree. But we want to check in real quick before we check out. Pop, drop,
Shout
block.
out Stat Mando Kearns.
Oh yeah, we don't put his score up anymore because he's not a regular contestant on the show. But Evan Kearns of Statmando / PDGA.
He smoked us.
A little bit. I'll give him credit. He beat us.
He won.
He picked really well. Let's get to it. I don't remember who we're starting with or how we're getting there, but I'm just going to go ahead and put up Nick's points first. And, that's your picks. Never mind. Nick's points. 50 points.
50 points.
And
I
picked well or not well? What did you like?
I mean, MPO side, I picked Andrew Fish to pop off, got me 33. Brody to drop, got me 11. And Gannon, I had picked to win the event. You know, kind of went with stats, recency bias, and everything like that. Got me 10 points. But on my FPO side, the only one that did me any favors was Valerie getting me 10 points as well for her finish.
Josh got 73 points. What went well, what didn't?
I picked Zach Arlinghouse and gave me 60 points, and I picked Owen to win. Man. So Zach on the home course really popped off by 60 spots.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been playing well this year.
Ben, you got 80 points. I'd ask you what you did well, but you played the game.
Let's go. Always playing the game.
Joey Tamale gifted you like 12 points just for playing the event, but then you got 30 something for him.
Shout out Joey.
You picked Missy to win or lock, and she locked, but just not win. Curious if I'm still streaming because we're still recording. I'm curious if I'm still streaming. It says some things might not be going smoothly, but and then my points, it says 85 points. And James Conrad ended up being a bad pick. At first round, I thought maybe he was good. By the end, he lost me points, and I picked him to pop. My lock of Own was good. I got all the FPO picks right as far as pops and drops, which was good. And why am I blanking on who got me the points there? It was Silas Schultz as a drop. That's who it was.
Yeah, that was a drop. 41 for
40
that.
something, yeah. So,
sheesh. Yeah, shout out Hooligan Discs. And shout out to Intuitive Pheasant 6257, 153 points. 2 massive picks, actually 3 of them. Zach Arlinghouse for 60, Ezra Aderhold for 45 in the drop category, and then Owen Scoggins and Alexis Mandahano for the pop and the lock. So pretty freaking good.
Yes. I also want to shout out, we had put out a call. Who is the person that is in the lead right now? And we actually know who this individual is. We just didn't know who that individual was. I don't want to get his last name wrong, but I want to say it's Zudma. Is that what it is, Josh?
Well, now you're putting me on the spot, but I think it's Zudzma.
Okay, well. And I'm looking through for the email. That's my issue. I didn't have it pulled up. But where would we know him from? Oh,
Josiah Zudzma.
Yeah.
We would know him from discgolfsurvey.com. And what's the name of their group? Now I'm forgetting what they're officially called.
The Fandom Survey.
Yeah, it's Fandom. But anyway, so yeah, that's where we know. And by the way, like I've heard, like, you know how other shows in disc golf media have like pick'em games. I think he's winning some of theirs too. So Josiah's got the stats on lock. Knows how to play the game.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember, we've had multiple weeks winner. I'm pretty sure. Yes. So he's won multiple weeks. I don't remember now. We've had multiple winners. I think
he's won at least one. I think he
won. Josiah won last year, the same event, I think. Or it was a Canadian. I'm getting them all mixed up now, but Ledgestone winner for Pop Drop Lock won Ledgestone last year, which is wild. Like I had to double check and look into it because I'm like, something's glitching. No, the same guy picked the right Pop Drop Lock picks. That is wild. So congrats to them. Thanks to Hooligan for always shipping out the disc. And in fact, this was a response we got that they received the disc and they've been playing with it. It turned into a really fun, flippy mid-flight. It's awesome. So shout out to Hooligan Disc on that one as well. And then finally, we'd be remiss not to say, because it's a fundraiser, maybe we should put it at the top of our show next week. Paul McBeth Foundation, Throw for More charity. Paul McBeth Foundation, and then Throw for More is the fundraiser. The information is in our description. We've raised some money thanks to people giving it to Ben. And I will be trying to raise money directly, and hopefully by the time the event happens, we'll get more. But if you look in our description, you can pledge how much you'll give. It will inspire us. Thank you for doing that. Paul McBeth Foundation thanks you. I think they've hit $5,000 pledged right now. They're trying to hit 15,000. So check out that link and see what you can do. I think I want to say only, but they have 250 people right now. I think we could get a lot more for that. Remember, we're going to raise a lot of money for disc golf around the world. Anything else we missed, guys? Obviously, thanks to TitanDiscGolf.com, but anything else we missed? A lot, I'm sure. No?
Not off the top of my head.
There's a lot.
It was a good week of disc golf.
If you're in New England, make sure you go to the MVP East Coast Metal Roofing Disc Golf Day. That actually sounds super fun. I'm stoked for it, actually. Simon and I were just talking about it. We went golfing last week and then went to an indoor golf simulator, and we were talking about it a bunch. So it actually seems like a pretty incredible time. I'm stoked for it.
Two things. One is I'm not planning for us to do a show next week on Labor Day. Sorry, womp womp womp. That's the plan as of right now. So we're putting it out there. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, you kind of heard it here if you listen to the very end. And then the other thing was, for Pop Drop Lock, because we're getting down to the end, we need to start dialing it in, because we don't want to just, we have rules and all that, but like the finale is on there right now as a list in the event. We're not doing that, right? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't play well. We don't have rules for how that would work.
Take it off.
Take it off. Yeah. Okay. So we are going to end with USDGC.
Yeah.
Okay. It's in the list that way. I just want to make sure we're going to get rid of the finale. So if you have strategy.
4 events left. Four
right.
events left.
So we'll have Shrek pull off the finale. And then again, as we get closer, if you are in contention to win this, check your schedule for November, because it's going to be a quick try to pull it together kind of thing. So we got to get it in before Thanksgiving. We got to talk to Simon, make it happen. So we'll stay in touch. It could be anybody, you know, in the top 5 here, top 10. It could be anybody if you play your cards right. So, all right, that's that, guys. We've made it to the end of the show. Episode 250, quarter of 1,000.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Nick, you're going to close this out. It's been a little while.
I've been on for like 100 of them, so I'm just kidding.
Nick's like, I don't remember how to close this out.
Yeah. Last week I was in China, actually. China, Maine, that is. I was 3.5 hours north up in China, Maine, so I couldn't make it back in time. Anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in to episode 250. It's a pretty wild landmark. Matt and I kind of jokingly started this podcast during the COVID year, and to see us go 250 episodes and to have, you know, lifelong listeners of the show is pretty incredible. Crazy. We love you guys a ton, and we've obviously made some incredible additions. Josh, Evan, Ben, throughout the whole process of it, done a ton of cool things. We've done a ton of awesome things with it. So thank you for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Check us out on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Tell someone you love them this week. Catch you guys all in the next one.
I'm putting up to the screen Paul McBeth shooting a 45 at Maple Hill. This was like 13 years ago.
That was filthy.
This is actually 12, on this
12
date.
Years ago.
On this date in history. Yeah, 12 years ago.
I was there. I was holding up the sign. I was holding up the sign, changing the numbers. Nick, Kyle Moriarty and I.
7 years ago on Facebook, Nick's putting on hole 10.
Yep. A video came up, and it was me throwing. We went out for a practice round. Me, you, Paul, Sexton, Hannah went out for a practice round at Maple. I was like, dang, I actually used to be able to rip a disc, and now I don't know what the heck happened. But I had snap, I had speed. I don't know. I got old. So
you got old.
I got fat.
There's the Paul McBeth form 12 years ago. It hasn't changed too much. It's very iconic. You can see it. Yeah. The squat kind of throw on that last hole this week. Iconic. Yeah. All right.
Very iconic.
Just shatter Ben's heart. Guys. Until next time. Maybe not next week. Stay tuned. Peace out, everybody. We'll catch you
in
out
2 weeks.
Later.
See ya.